John in Milford, Connecticut asks, what can we do to either rebrand the Republican Party or increase the awareness and support for a third party to surpass the Republican popularity?
I don't know. That is a difficult question. And, the Republican brand has been tarnished, but, I don't know what really they can do because there's a perception out there, I suppose, among a lot of young voters that the Republicans are anti-minorities, anti-women, you name it, all these groups. And of course, they're not anti them, but what the Republicans have to do is try to present an alternative picture other than a life of dependency and government handouts, and kind of reach out to the people who have been bought by the Democrats and try to at least peel off a little bit of that vote. They're never going to win, I think, the vote of the people who are living off of government. But there are some people who might prefer an alternative, who might respond to a message if it was properly delivered. The problem is most Republicans are afraid to tell the truth when it comes to these groups, and therefore they end up looking like hypocrites and running away instead of actually engaging the Democrats on that ideological battle. But I think what the Republicans really need to do, as far as the workers who are paying all the taxes and supporting the population that is living off of government, they have to do a better job of appealing to those people, because a lot of working men and women still voted for the Democrats. And maybe if the Republicans could really hold out a bigger carrot to go along with the stick of cutting spending, to really let the public know that they can enjoy significant tax relief. Maybe let's abolish the income tax if we get rid of all this government spending, and then let people actually know what they're voting in favor of when they're voting for a Democrat. They're voting to preserve the high rate of taxes that they pay. But maybe if we vote for a Republican, we won't have these taxes anymore. Instead, the Republican candidates still promise high taxes. They just promise that those taxes will be slightly lower than what the Democrats promise. And so that's probably not enough to get at a lot of the, the unaffiliated, some of the blue dog Democrat types who might be attracted to a real limited government free market candidate if there was something in it for them. Obviously, Obama appealed to his voters by buying them, giving them free stuff. Well, the Republicans need to appeal to voters by promising to stop taxing them so that other people can get free stuff. That's real relief. But if you're going to give that message and make it genuine, then you obviously have to cut spending dramatically to make it believable, and be willing to fight the good fight on why those spending cuts are necessary. And if it means you lose some votes, we'll lose some votes. But the Republicans are too afraid to look mean, and so they don't want to really attack the Democrats ideologically on these issues. And then, of course, the Republicans need to move away from getting tied up in some of these social issues when it comes to birth control or abortion or rape. They just got to not take the bait when the Democrats bait them, and they got to keep religion out of politics. I mean, just don't answer these questions. I mean, if you're a religious candidate, just say, look, my religious beliefs are my beliefs, and I'm not going to talk about my religious beliefs when I'm running for a public office. Just say that kind of stuff and don't get into trouble. And I think that's a much better approach, because you open up the door and you let the Democrats create the fear in the minds of a lot of voters that if they vote Democrat, that's the end of their life as they know it, that they're never going to be able to have a contraception, or they're not going to be able to have an abortion if they want one. Even if they pay for it with their own money, the government's going to be snooping in their bedrooms, and you don't want to create that idea in the mind of the voters, that threat, even though it's not legitimate. It's just that the Republicans feel compelled to talk about these issues. And a lot of it is because of the primary process. To win a primary, you got to appeal to the religious element, the social conservatives that are in the Republican Party. And while they're good people, I wish they would recognize the toll that this ultimately takes, I believe, on the general election. And look, you got a good Catholic, you got a good Christian running for office, fine. Just don't make the election or the primary a referendum on their religious beliefs. Just accept that they have them, and let's elect presidents based on what they feel about the economy, the Constitution, not necessarily how they feel about God, and just leave that between the candidate and God, and don't just bring it out there front and center into the political discussion. Now, I know there are some Democrats that probably appreciate this as well, but I think we're losing more votes in the general election than we're gaining by following that approach.